Okay, time's up. Okay, notice everything blue? Great. Um, now, can you tell me how many red things are around you? Without looking.
My God.
You can't, right? Because you were focusing on blue,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you the reason for all these questions. Okay. So stay with me. Now, around you, either left side or right side on the floor, choose one place and notice what's the first thing that you see and tell and start speaking as you see. Okay.
I can see the
Keep, keep,
doormat.
keep, keep looking there. Keep looking at one spot and keep telling me what to do. On your left or right, anywhere on the floor.
A plant.
Okay. Keep looking there.
Okay. Okay.
At the same spot. Don't change where you're looking. Same spot. Keep looking. What do you see in there?
On my right, I see the switchboard, which has like five, you know, plug points and same number of switches.
Okay. Keep looking. What else do you see? Keep looking. What else do you see?
I also noticed the design of this switchboard, which I never noticed earlier.
Keep looking. What else?
And I also see the type of plug it is. This can accommodate even international plugs.
Hmm. Okay. What else?
And it's slightly skewed, not very straight. The way it was fitted, I think it is not very perfectly fitted.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you, Rajiv, for describing all of that. So I noticed while Rajiv was looking, first he just saw the switchboard, and then so many things came into awareness. Yes, did that happen with others as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we and if you keep looking more, what will happen? More the more time you spend with it, the more awareness will be generated, right? Um, and so if you notice what all happened just now. Initially, I asked you the first question I asked you was notice something around you, which is blue. So you noticed blue, but you did not see red. But red was already there. Sorry, yeah, red was already there, even if you don't notice it. Correct? And then when I asked you, look at one spot, the more you looked at it, the more you start looking at it. So these things were already there, but maybe not in the awareness. And where we focus is where we see. Do you agree that happens? Yes.
Yes.
Now, um, now the topic that we have today, evoking awareness. Now, initially, in ICF, it was called creating awareness, by the way. They changed it sometime back and they made it evoking awareness. Any idea why did they change it from creating awareness to evoking awareness? What could be a logic?
Because it was felt that it is already existing. It is just to be brought to the surface, that we call it as evoke, right? Which is something already there. We are not creating anything, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I feel that might be the reason.
Okay, fair. Okay, yeah, that's a great point. What else? What else do you think could be a reason?
Another possibility is that creating will always have a creator. So it depends on the coach to ensure that for the client, whereas here you're making sure that the client is responsible for the awareness that they're able to evoke in themselves. So you're only being a facilitator and not a creator. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think yeah, I think great points from both. And I'm glad they changed it because when I used to think about creating awareness, my ego used to come in between and tell me that I am creating awareness. But evoking awareness is what they already have, and I'm only playing a part of facilitating it and helping them see that. Yeah. Uh, and that is how awareness is. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see a black screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. There is awareness will emerge. There it is. Um, um, yes, awareness is like this. Most of the time, we are in the dark with only a small spotlight on what we already know. Coaching at its best expands the spotlight, revealing what was there but hidden somewhere. Yeah. Now, having said that, since we're talking about evoking awareness, which is already there, now what is different about coming into a coaching session and evoking that awareness? Why couldn't it be evoked by the client themselves? What do you think are some barriers to that? What is already there and you can see what could be a barrier to that?
Uh, Nikhil, I would like to say that even though it is already there, like
Mhm.
you evoke awareness, still what intrigues me is that looking at the same thing or same experience, going through the same experience, people have different awareness.
Yes.
In a coaching conversation, sometimes it so happens that maybe it is a little far fetched to say that, but coach is able to see something very clearly, which the coach is not able to, and that becomes very difficult because
Hmm.
after some point you have to actually stop trying because it's not our journey, it's their journey. But that is one thing that I have faced, is that why some things are clear to some people and not to others.
Yeah. So I'm hearing two things. One, you're saying that when different people see the same object, they have different awareness. That's one thing you're saying.
Yes.
And the other thing you're also saying is that sometimes the coach can see it and the coachee
Mhm.
cannot see it, right? Um,
Yes.
that brings me to another perspective here. Um, one of the reasons, and by the way, evoking awareness is one of my favorite topic because this is the one that jolted my ego the most. Um, for example, let me ask all of you, why did you choose to become a coach? What's your why? What's your reason behind becoming a coach?
I think most of the time we think that if we are trying to support somebody or facilitate the journey to help the person live to their potential, and
Yeah.
that's our view. And also I tend to disagree with the second point made earlier,
Mhm.
wherein when you are able to see, then probably you're bringing in your judgment into it. I think as coaching,
Hmm.
we need to get through that judgment, and I think that's happening because we are thinking that we are actually leading the process, whereas
Yeah.
we need the coaching to lead the process.
Correct, absolutely, and that's the point we are getting into actually, Deepika. And like Shraddha mentioned, that there is something that the coach can see, but coachee cannot see. So what do we do here? What do we do? Should we help? Should we tell? And yeah, and what's the damage in telling? Why not tell?
Because
Oh,
again, that is
never
where we
tell.
are putting that's where we are putting our point of view. And the first point she made was about fact that there are a lot of other perspectives which probably the coachee can see and we cannot see. And I think we need to live that journey rather than our journey with them. All right.
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. So
Also,
here, yeah,
sorry. Also, we can offer observations. So we don't tell, but we can offer observations.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
That is possible.
yeah, yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, observations will come to in some time. But
All
what is
right.
the damage in telling? The damage in telling, and I have a few questions for the answer to this question. On your screen, has it ever happened with you that you gave the best of advice with all your good intentions to somebody and it did not work for that person? Has it happened in your life? Let's try and relive those situations.
Yes, it does happen.
Happen, right? To our best friends sometimes, yeah. And maybe you wanted them to realize something, uh,
Yeah.
but they did not. You wanted them to build a new habit, or you wanted them to take a decision, or if they agreed, then they blamed you later.
So,
Has it happened?
yeah. And a lot of time there's a pushback saying that, boss, you're not thinking from my point of view. You're
Yeah,
thinking from your point of view. So there is a huge pushback. You're not in my shoes. You don't
yes.
even understand what they are talking.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly what I was talking about. Why evoking awareness, my favorite topic, because when I wanted to become a coach, my intention was to help people. And this word help, my intention of helping people was initially actually, doing all of these problems with people. So instead of helping people with giving advice, coaching, now that we are coaches, we are told not to tell, but evoke awareness in people, and only then it works for somebody. Yeah. So with that thought, what do you think is awareness?
I think awareness would be, you know, exploring beyond the current thinking.
Okay, yeah, becoming aware of something which is more. Okay, yeah, Shraddha.
Yeah, I would say, Nikhil, that it's when it comes to awareness, mostly it is not something new. It is there in their subconscious,
Mm,
somewhere hidden in deeper. It's just that it brings it out because I think something it's not possible to put those seeds through coaching. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's only the only that thing will grow which the seeds are already inside.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, okay. So it's something that's already there and we're helping them. So here is a question to make it real for us. Is there an awareness in your life that shifted the way you live or the way you think, the way you operate, the way you approach life? Uh, is there any example of such an awareness which changed the way you started living?
Can I share?
Yes,
So,
please.
when I was the head of a team, I always used to think that, I'm a very good listener. I'm very caring for people, and, I take care of everyone. But when I started seeking feedback, to my surprise, I noticed that I was not a very good listener for many reasons. And I
Mm-hmm.
explored those reasons and listed them down. And that completely shifted the way I used to behave. And I became a much better listener. And, I understood the nuances of what listening is all about. And, that completely shifted me.
Yeah, yeah, I think a very common one. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Rajiv. Any one more example? Anybody?
So I'll take a different example. For example, when I started to be a strength coach, when I did my awareness in terms of skills assessment, which you take to figure out what your strengths are, I was doing something naturally, but I was not sure, aware as to why am I doing what I'm doing. But when I took that assessment and started to analyze, it came very naturally. The fact that it showed me a mirror that it's already there in you, but you were not even you're doing it unconsciously, but you're not aware of the same. And it changed my entire perspective, and I started to leverage that far more in my in my life, in my professional journey as we went along. I went
Yeah.
along.
And I'm already imagining with Deepika what you shared and Rajiv what you shared, how other things must have shifted in life. Like Rajiv, maybe it changed relationships for you, deeper relationships. And Deepika, maybe whatever you're trying to achieve, you started following the path of least resistance when you noticed your strengths, and it became easier for you. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Enjoyed the process more and
yeah.
started to imbibe it more.
So one awareness can change so many things inside, and then what changes inside changes outside as well, right? So now this is how ICF defines evoking awareness. It's about helping clients see what they haven't seen, challenging their assumptions, and opening new perspectives for them. And how we do it in a coaching session is by asking evocative questions, noticing patterns and underlying beliefs, sharing observations without attachment. And without attachment, why? Because I think, like when Shraddha said that, the client cannot see it, but the coach can see it. And that's where this point comes in, the attachment to outcome. Because if I am going to tell, then maybe I'm not helping. And then offering metaphors, reframes, and silences the most important one. What do you think is the role of silence in evoking awareness?
I think pause is very important because once you have, brought a client to a certain awareness or made them notice something that they haven't noticed earlier,
Yeah.
it's important to take that pause so that the whole thing sinks in for them, and then they are able to sort of reflect back or take that space to feel, breathe, etc., etc. after that, instead of going into a rampant, conversation right after it. So I think that's the role that pause really does for one person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
Absolutely.
Nikhil,
Yeah.
they process the information, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Within their
Processing.
minds. Yeah, they process what they have heard, what it means, reflect on it, and then they come back with what they had,
Yes.
what's
Yeah.
become obvious to them.
Research says that humans can either talk or reflect at one time. They can't do both. So yeah, so silence plays a very important role, and we will do some experimentation with silence also today. I'm excited to go there. Um, now, what do you think are certain things? So we talked about a coaching session creating awareness, a coach helping create an awareness. But what do you think blocks awareness in life? Any thoughts? But what happens to us that our awareness is blocked sometimes in life on certain things?
I think our own preferences, our own prejudices, our own, sense of knowing.
Yeah.
Ego,
Okay.
yeah, our own ego.
Yeah. Okay. Ego. Okay. Because ego is mostly moving towards survival, trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us protected. Okay.
Mm.
Our beliefs. Yeah. In the chat, I have are
Simply
some of our beliefs. Yeah.
attention span. Like we may not
Hmm.
have that much of, like in the exercise that you did just in the starting of the session, that
Yeah.
we failed to attend to what was on the left, uh,
Yeah.
despite knowing that there is something on the left.
Yeah. When we are focusing
So
on
the
certain
attention
things.
span itself can be a
Right, absolutely. One is attention span, the other is I'm focusing on one side, I may miss out the other thing. So it's very natural to not have awareness of certain things which are already there. That's why. So beliefs and feeling judged, yeah. Feeling judged also, absolutely. Um, and feeling judged brings me to a point. Um, it happens, right? That sometimes there is a friend who's a very good listener, and we are talking to a friend, but and even if you are a friend to somebody, you're a very good listener, but that friend keeps talking, 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 and you're still a good listener. But when a coach listens and when a friend listens, there is something different. Any idea what is different?
You feel
Judgment.
acceptance and not judge.
Yeah, acceptance and judgment. Because with the friends that we have spent so many years creating a perception about us in front of them, and it is difficult to break that. And with the coach, there is that safe space where I can be different as well. And friends usually are not able to listen without the strings attached also, yeah. But with the people around us, we have spent a lot of years creating a particular kind of perception, and it's difficult to break that. And a coach can create that safe space.
And I think there's one
And
more thing, which is
yes.
that when I'm talking to a friend, I'm
Mhm.
also somewhere attached to the outcomes.
Yeah.
As a coach, I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. And what blocks awareness in a coaching session? What can block awareness in a coaching session? What do you think?
Our own judgments, our own beliefs, our own values, and coaches, our own that could.
Okay, coaches biases, yeah, and coaches will have biases, but are they moving towards blocking the client or not? That is something that we can do with effective communication as well. Yeah, distractions, yes. If the right intention is not set in the starting of the session and the environment is distracting, that will also block awareness, block evoking awareness. Yeah, so a safe space and a space which is not distracted, discomfort, in a
Past,
hurry to move
past
forward.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, past experiences, in a hurry to move forward. And in a hurry to move forward, the biggest thing that gets blocked is silence, right? Becoming performative, wanting to solve problems for the client when clients need becomes our need. Yeah, so that's attachment. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Great. Thank you for sharing that. Now, so in a coaching session, what helps in creating awareness? What enables awareness? It is the coach, the way the session is designed, by the way our sessions are designed, starting with client sharing the story and you catching the essence of the story and then asking questions, the environment, relationship, and the moments of silence. These are some of the things which can help us create awareness, or sorry, evoke awareness for the client. I'm going to share with you something that happens inside the brain and something that happens outside when it comes to awareness. So initially, let's create a foundation with the neuroscience behind awareness, right? Um, so inside the brain, what happens? There is something called default network mode. Have you heard about that? Yeah. Any idea what? There are three things in default network mode. What are they? Any idea? No? Okay. So in the default network mode, here are the three things: our identity, our memories, and the meanings we have made of those. For a very simple example, I am Nikhil, that's my identity. And obviously, I have a professional identity, a personal identity. But who Nikhil is the identity. And memories, let's say in my childhood, I was learning to ride a bicycle and I fell down and I got hurt. So that's a memory. And the meaning I have made out of that memory is cycling is dangerous. Yeah. And the default mode network, these three things are connected. Okay. And the more we believe in something, the more experiences we have related to something, this becomes more and more rigid. So our beliefs, our biases, all of the things that we were talking about, which blocks awareness, is because these three things become more and more rigid with experiences in life. And when we have to evoke awareness, we are targeting changing the meanings of those memories and helping the client see their identity once again.
तीन तो लगाओ.
Yeah, Renu, you were not on mute. I've put you on mute. Okay. So understood default mode network. Who I am, the memories I have because of which I have become who I am, and the meaning I have made out of all of those. Now, like I said, this has become very, very rigid. Now, if this has become rigid, do you think, so what do you think, how do you think I will feel when somebody is trying to open this? When I challenge somebody on their identity, their memories, the meanings that they have made, what happens when we challenge people about their beliefs?
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, right? They feel unsafe, they are shaken. And when people say feel unsafe, amygdala hijack happens, our emotional brain, the threat detector. And when threat detector
Fight or flight.
becomes active, the first thing it stops is the prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking brain, the decision-making brain. Um, and in our life, usually, when our family members are giving us feedback, when a boss is giving a feedback, when somebody else is giving a feedback, obviously there is threat detection. So, some things that we talk about, what evokes awareness, only when a person feels safe in an environment, when there are no distractions, is where awareness can be generated. And to something which is so rigid, the default mode network, the most important thing here becomes is the moments of silence. Yes. Um, and so before we move forward, let's do a little bit of silence exercise. Are you ready, everybody? And I have already become aware that some people are managing their household, their life also, because when they are not mute, some people are talking to you from behind. So let's try undivided attention for 1 minute. Okay, I will time you for 1 minute. All we will do is we will take a deep breath and then release it through our mouth. So breathe through your nose initially, and take a short breath when you inhale and a longer breath when you exhale from your mouth. A short breath when you inhale and a longer breath when you exhale from your mouth. And try sitting straight in a comfortable position. Your time starts now. Um, do follow this instruction initially, but then start to breathe normally. Notice if you're breathing from your chest or your stomach. Try moving to your stomach. Let your stomach expand as you breathe. Okay. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. How was your experience of this minute? How are you feeling in your body?
Peaceful.
Peaceful?
Much more calm, and the chatter which were in the brain has slightly died down.
Yeah. Okay. And Aishwarya is sleepy and peaceful also. Nice. Yeah. Um, yeah, there are multiple techniques there are of breathing. This is the one I follow a lot. Short breath and then releasing it slowly. Gives a message to the nervous system that I am safe, and breathing from stomach. So sometimes I do this for myself and in the starting of the session as well to create that space. Um, and now that we have done this, I will give you a question. Okay. And this question, when you receive, I want you to think about it for about 30 seconds or a minute and write down the answer that you get. Okay? Are you ready? The question is, and this is about you and your life. Okay? The question is, and after I give you the question, we will all be silent. I will just break the silence after a minute. The question is, what do you most need right now in your life that you haven't given yourself permission for? Okay, it's 1 minute. Um, did you get some answers? We have some answers in the chat as well. Reducing expectations, calm the mind. Okay. Did you get some answers? Yeah. And So this is one part of evoking awareness. And after this, uh, the session may go more into the beliefs behind it, and then what do you want to do about it, reframing that. But this is where a simple awareness was generated with silence. So just a trailer for that. Um, Freedom to learn things out of academics and freedom to be without guilt. Yeah, I think, yeah, guilt, an invisible warden that keeps going on with us most of the times. Yeah, yes. Can you repeat the question? The question was, what do you need most right now in your life that you haven't given yourself permission for? Yeah. Enjoy my financial freedom, retreat. Wow, I'm reading this and I'm feeling happy already. Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, Great. And imagine the possibilities when you give yourself permission for this, what all comes out. Um, with this, I'm also going to share with you in a session. So we just now we talked about what happens inside the brain. Now let's talk about what happens outside when awareness is being generated. And there is a model for that, which is called four phases of awareness. Okay. Four phases of awareness, and I'm going to share that here. But yeah, before that, I had this slide ready. A smart person knows when to talk, and a wise person knows when to be silent. Yeah, yeah, intelligence and being intelligent and being wise, we keep talking about that. So yeah, what happens outside? Let's talk about that. Awareness, how awareness visibly shows up. So there's this model called four phases of an insight, and the first phase is awareness of dilemma. Second is quiet space of reflection. So first there is awareness of a dilemma, then there is quiet space of reflection, which we give ourselves permission for, or we give it in a session. Then illumination, and finally motivation to move to execution. Okay. Um, and through what we do in a session on evocative questions, metaphor, analogies, this is what happens outside. So awareness of dilemma looks like this mostly. Um, then uh, quiet space of reflection. In quiet space of reflection, sorry, my animation will come later, but interesting facts about reflection. The brain gives off alpha band waves just prior to an insight. So alpha, gata, beta, alpha, alpha, beta, gamma waves in our brain, right? They keep changing, and gamma is mostly where most of the awareness happens. So that happens when in quiet space of reflection. The correlates with the shutdown of input from external senses and focuses on internal stimuli, where the answers are inside. And alpha band wave also correlates with the release of serotonin, the happy hormones. Okay. Relaxation and ease of pain. And when we reflect, we tend to feel grounded and happy already. This is by Jung Birman, and this is how reflection looks like, the phase of reflection, the second phase. The third is illumination, where when illumination happens, rush of energy happens, driven by the new set of connections in our brain. So what we talked about, the default network work, new connections are made, new adrenaline and are released, giving us addictive rush. Adrenaline and dopamine are addictive. At the very moment an insight, the brain gives off strong gamma band waves. And seen when the brain simultaneously processes information across diverse region in the generation of a new map. Where okay, and this is how illumination looks like. And finally, what's the last one? What do you think would happen after illumination?
Motivation to do.
Yes, motivation. Where eyes are racing ahead, ready to take action, motivation will pass quickly. So which is why now this motivation passes quickly also. So very important to create action plan in the session. And taking tangible actions during illumination is important. It helps ensure the new ideas become a reality. Yeah. Now here is a question. When do you think uh, evoking awareness starts in a session? Sorry. Ouch. Yeah. When do you think evoking awareness starts in a session?
From the time that the client has entered the coaching space with you.
Okay.
Um, I think
Mm,
there is always the beginning of awareness that takes place where the client is already aware that they need help for something or they need support for something. So yeah, it
um,
started.
okay. So awareness that I need help. Yeah, I agree. But in the coaching session, there is awareness of dilemma. So that's the awareness of dilemma there, right? When dilemma becomes clear. Yes. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. So so actually, remember a client comes and then shares a 10-minute story. And what do you do after that 10-minute story?
Contract, like
No, contracting has already happened, and
what
then
would you like to achieve in this session, in this?
yeah. After that question, the story starts.
uh,
Yeah, contracting happens, then a story starts.
why this is important?
And then after you hear that 10-minute story, the first line that you say creates the first level of awareness there. Because what do we do here in this? In that first line, what is our objective? The coach says this first line after you hear that 10-minute story or 5-minute or whatever, yeah.
What makes it important for you to bring
Mhm.
this?
The coach catches the essence of everything that was shared and
Hmm.
paraphrases, mirrors it back to the client,
Hmm.
right? And that is the first time they heard the essence of what they have been thinking. So when you mirror back the multiple thoughts, the noodle of thoughts that they had in their mind, and the right essence when you catch and you reflect it back is where first awareness is generated. And that's when you see they become a little quiet, they feel grounded, and they take a sigh like that because they heard their thinking for the first time. And in that question, if we move on quickly, that's a problem. And that's where a powerful moment of silence can create more awareness when the coach can ask, notice that, I just noticed you took a sigh. What's behind that? What is happening right now? And then you give them time after that, and some awareness is generated. Yeah. So let's do a small exercise. I will give you a story, and on that story, I want you to catch the essence of the story and type your response in the chat. Okay. Let's quickly see what happens there. Okay. This is a practice drill. You will read the story, and you will write a softened one-liner and use statements like "It sounds like," "I wonder if," "almost as if," and then we will be silent for some time. Okay. So some examples of silence. Sorry, softeners. This is what you can use. It sounds like I'm hearing that what I notice underneath all this is or almost as if. And so for you, it feels like, and I wonder if what's really here is, okay? So these are some of the statements that you can use to just mirror back this, what you hear in the story. Okay, I'll open the story on the screen and I will read it for you. There, okay, ready everybody? Let's take a deep breath. Okay. And remember, there are no marks for early answers. Okay. Just pause and catch the essence, take a deep breath, and then put it in the chat. So client says, every day feels like firefighting. I try to stay on top of things, but the requests just keep piling up. My team relies on me. My boss keeps adding more. And honestly, I don't think anyone sees how much I'm actually doing.
Can I say, Nikhil?
No, no, let's wait. Try to put it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. 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 So Aishwarya got the feeling, and also, yeah, there is a sense. Uh, Rajiv, I'm just wondering. It sounds like you're unable to handle your workload. I- that's that looks like a sounds like a little judgment. So we have to be away from judgments also, because I'm assuming the boss also must be saying that. So catching the essence and the feelings. Yeah. Okay. I am also putting something in the chat. Okay. Yeah.
Can I respond to your question?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So I do appreciate that, it sounds judgmental, but sometimes such questions are required to challenge the coachee so that, he will come out himself that, no, 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 but I am very efficient. I am this, I'm that. So he will come out with all his positive qualities there and then. This would be my objective if I put
Hmm.
these words.
Okay. Yeah, so again, context depends on the relationship
Yeah,
and at
yeah,
what level in the session you're sharing that.
correct.
So I agree. Yeah. If you know the coachee that they will try to challenge you, then yeah. Okay. Okay. I've put one response in the chat for this. It sounds like you're carrying so much for everyone and still wonder if anyone sees you. Yeah. Okay. Second story. Ready for the second story, everyone? We'll check out three stories. Second story. I want to give my team freedom, but then they drop the ball. When I step in to fix things, they say I'm micromanaging. I feel like no matter what I do, I am wrong. I think since we have less time, if you want to unmute and talk, you can do that also. Okay. I'm hearing that people don't seem to understand your contributions. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like, yeah, you understood me. Yeah. Aishwarya's session is till 12:45, was it? Aishwarya, can you hear me? Folks, your calendars were blocked till what time? 12:45, right? So, yeah. Okay, so one more story. I hope we have time for one more story. Yes. Okay, great. I have put my response in the chat. And yeah, okay. Almost as if there is no perfect way. Yeah, Manpreet, yes. No matter what you do, give space or step in, it feels wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. Third story and our final story. I'm always the one people depend on at work, at home, and with friends. I'm the reliable one, but inside I'm tired. I don't know how long I can keep holding it together. It feels like your intentions are good, but somehow it is not landing the way you would like. Yeah, okay. It seems that you are holding a lot within you. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. No problem, Ashura. Okay, so yeah, I have put one response in the chat. Take a minute to read it. Yeah, there are expectations from you. Yes. So the key is actually, um, yeah, the key here is actually to use brevity and create impact. Stay soft, not evaluate. Use it. Use these statements, the softness we talked about, and aim for a sense, not detail. So that's the key, and that's where evoking awareness starts first. And after this, I mean, there is so much that we can talk about on this topic, and maybe on the next level, we will talk about. After this comes powerful questioning, the kind of questions we ask. And there are perspective shift questions, looking at future questions, reframing questions. But when we do session on powerful questions, we will take it then. For now, I think we will start with what happens inside and outside the brain. And I have a closing thought that I will share, and that is here. Awareness doesn't come from many questions. It comes from the right kind of question, asked only once, held in silence, and reflected back. And yeah, the other things that we talked about starting from the session starts. So that's all that we have for today. It'll be nice if you share one awareness you have generated during this session about yourself or the topic. You can unmute and talk. You can share it in the chat. Thank you, Deepika. Thank you, Manpreet.
Nikhil, I would like to thank you a lot for this session. And I think my takeaway is that you have made this, the part just after the initial story thing so much simpler, so much clearer. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'm glad. Thank you, Shraddha. Okay, great. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you, Manpreet. Thank you. Awareness questions. Yes. Great. So yeah, thank you very much. Keep taking one breath at a time, and see you again in the next session. So all the best, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Mhm.
Wonderful session.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.